everyone, welcome to another match of Temur Pteramander Delver. Today we're playing Blue-Red Storm. What else would it be? This is match 1 of 3. The deck tech was posted this morning. Check out that deck tech if you want to know what this deck is all about. Temur Pteramander Delver. Link is in the description of this video. Our opening hand is fine. So 1 lander, but it's okay. We'll most likely draw a second land at some point, and we will be in a better position. Of course, we don't know what we're playing against. Might not have been a hand I would keep if I knew I was playing Storm. It's a bit too cute, and yeah, you would want something better than Tarfire as removal against Storm. But a turn 1 Seer Visions on the other side of the battlefield, I feel okay with that. It means we get at least a good shot at our Delver Secrets flipping and dealing at least 3 damage, so let's see if that's what happens. Our opponent taking their time on Seer Visions. Does our Delver flip? It does not, but we got our second land, so, well, that's a thing. Attack in there. I think I slam Tarmogoyf here. Yeah. Slam Tarmogoyf, start putting on some pressure. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Our opponent's talking about Delver never blind flipping. Oh, it blind flips, especially when you put 29 instants and sorceries in your deck, but even then, if your Delver brews, it just doesn't flip. That's basically what happens. That's my curse. Well, my curse is, it's a pretty bad curse to have as a Delver player, but it is what it is. Here we go. Let's see. Try number 2. Okay, there we go. So it flips. All right. Woohoo. So let's attack in for a good old 5. Of course, I could deal a tad more by casting Tarfire. I'm going to. So we deal a ton of damage, and we're going to play our second Delver. So putting on the pressure here, really putting on a ton of pressure, and still don't know what our opponent's playing specifically, although I would have a hunch at this point because of the multiple Serum Visions and Sleight of Hands. So let's see what happens. Assuming Delver flips next turn is lethal, but I'm going to assume our opponent's going to do something to stop that. Well, our opponent decides. Just a reminder, if you enjoy my content in general, please subscribe and hit that notification bell at the bottom of this video on YouTube. It really goes a long way in supporting this channel. Alright, whenever I'm playing Storm, I never make up my mind on what I want to counter. In this scenario here, where our opponent has absolutely no way of casting anything else by countering that Pyretic Ritual, you counter the ritual. If your opponent's going to be able to cast another spell anyway, when you're going to counter, then wait for Gifts and Given or something. This is essentially your best shot, because they almost always have another spell to cast, and yeah, you're gonna pay, and I think I pay at some point in game 2. Spoiler alert. But in this case, they had no way. They had no way of casting anything else, so I countered it. So we have Stubborn Denial here. And the question is, what are they going to play? Because obviously they're dead on the board. So I'm going to assume they have something. Alright, so that Brawl. If they have another land drop that they're about to put down, that's unfortunate. Yeah, okay. So here, I think I let this through. Almost certainly, yeah. Because now with the cost reduction on Brawl, you know, they're going to start creating mana out of thin air, essentially. And let's just see where this goes. I'm pretty sure I countered a wrong spell this game. I don't remember specifically. Sorry, I'm kind of spoiling it ahead of time. We got our opponent down to 4, but it just wasn't enough. Repeal. I could live with a repeal. Yeah, I would probably let that go. Yeah. So let's see. You see, now here I counter it. And in theory, they could cast something else, but because they put blue in their mana pool, there was nothing that they could cast. So now, again, that was the correct play. So I did everything right in this game. So there we go. We learned something. Grafdigger's Cage is pretty important here. They can't flash anything back from their graveyard if that's on the battlefield. Kind of shuts down their play a bit, slows them down. That's really the only thing I'm gonna bring in. This hand is absolute trash. This hand is definitely, it's a snap keep because of Grafdigger's Cage. That's basically it. But it's also really good. We have a Delver turn 1 and all. And we have Force of Negation. So yeah, if there's no way for them to cast another spell to generate mana, counter the spell. If they can generate more mana after your counter, don't counter. It's basically my rule. So no need to put Grafdigger's Cage this turn. They're not going to combo off turn 2. Especially with Simian Spirit Guide gone. Delver flips. Our opponent being chummy about it, which is always nice. Stubborn Owl and Hooting Mandrills, both welcome. Yep. And we're going to play Grafdigger's Cage. Perfect. Now, one card I should have brought in from the side, which I didn't, and it's a common mistake I make, I just forget about Empty the Warrens, is I should bring in Engineered Explosives. Engineered Explosives is very important because Empty the Warrens is essentially game over because of the amount of Goblin tokens they create. But Engineered Explosives kind of stops that plan. But I didn't bring it in here, and I believe I pay for it. So right now I still feel confident. I have Force of Negation. I'm okay. Worst case, I have 2 Force of Negations. One I can hard cast, one I can pitch Thought Scour to. Our opponent does have a lot of mana though. Okay, they do nothing, which is usually scary, but I'm feeling relatively confident with the cards that I have in my hand. So let's see what we do here. So we'll probably Thought Scour. And then cast Hooting Mandrill. That's a good draw. Our opponent weighing their options. Alright, Hooting Mandrill sticks. Good. So again, feeling pretty good here. Alright, we're all down. So here we go. They're going to combo off. So here I should let this go. And I counter it. And that was my mistake. Kind of ruining it for you for this game because you're more or less gonna, I'm kind of hinting on where this goes. But it's game over. I should have let Pyretic Ritual go. Because they almost certainly had a ton of spells, which they obviously do here. So they're just gonna keep going with Stubborn Denial and Pirate Ritual on the stack. And here I'm doubling down because I'm stubborn. And I'm countering this one. And of course that Mystical Dispute. Now if that resolved, we actually might have been good. But they had it, so. In the future, especially with Grafdigger's Cage on the battlefield, just wait for Gifts Ungiven or something and fight over that. That would be my recommendation. Because they're almost always going to have another way, and here I know I've made a mistake, so I'm pretty much going with emotions. Now I usually wait because sometimes they can whiff, sometimes. Although it's very hard, there's just so much card draw that it would be almost impossible for them to whiff, but there you go. So Gifts Ungiven is the card you really want to counter. Because this is how they go and get the cards they need if they didn't draw it with all their cantrips. So just in future reference, just get rid of Gifts Ungiven. That's your main concern. So they're looking, and again, I'm hoping they whiff here and I get out with my mistake, but that doesn't happen. We're obviously going to be going to game 3. But let's just see what happens here. Let's see what our opponent picks. I don't remember exactly. I think it was a Remand and some other cards. We'll see. This was a while ago. It's a long time. There we go. Yeah, Remand, Repeal, Abrade, Manamorphose. There's really... Pretty sure I put Abrade in the graveyard because, I mean, why give it to them? But again, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, they already had another Manamorphose in hand, so... Fetching for no reason, but there you go. And the circle continues, and an empty Warren, so that's GG. Sure, I can see it any second here. Yeah. Alright. Off to game 3. I'm obviously going to bring in 2 Engineering Explosives. That's what I should have done. Don't need to be able to summer. There we go. Tarfire's not going to do anything against Baral, so... So this is a keep almost purely because of Engineer Explosives. Otherwise, it's a slow hand. But for a game 3, I'll take it. If our opponent is going on the empty the Warrens plan, then Engineer Explosives is going to be our ticket to victory, essentially. So, wow. Top. That was a great scry. Our opponent's happy we didn't have a turn 1 Delver, which is hilarious. And there's my voice cracking. But yeah. Yeah, I never had my Delver ever mystical disputed, so that would be interesting. Is my opponent hinting that they have that in hand? I'm just gonna assume they do anyway. No, I kept the slow hand, but it was the long-term plan hand. Let's put it that way. We'll slam Tarmogoyf next turn. Probably deal some damage to our opponent. That's that. There we go. Now we wait. Now you don't want to. Obviously, you don't want to cast Engineer Explosives just yet, right? Because if you do, then they're not going to do Empty the Warrens. They're going to do Grape Shot or something else. So when your opponent casts Empty the Warrens, there's no way to really give them haste, so they're going to wait a turn to win. So that's when you cast Engineer Explosives for 0 and then crack it. That's how you would play it. Probably sounds obvious, but yeah, you don't want to reveal that, or else, you know, they're going to play around it. So our opponent does not have the combo turn 3, which is good news for us, because we beat that in the water. Almost. If they will go for the Empty the Warrens plan, then it doesn't really matter. So let's attack in here. And I think I just do a very hard cast of Hooting Mandrills. Well, near hard cast. 50%. There we go. Let's see what they got. Sure, you can take it. We're not drawing our Delver or Pteramander, so... So let's see what they do here. This could be the turn where they pop off. Yep, most likely. Our opponent's probably playing around removal. Or permission, I should say. I'm assuming that's the calculus going through their mind. No, okay, they're just going for it. Cool. So they're going to solitaire with themselves for a bit here. Until they cast Empty the Warrens. Sure. You got it. There it is. So they get a ton of tokens. I'm almost certain our opponent could have gone further. I think they're also playing it safe here. Draw another land, which really sucks. We did not want another land. There we go. There go all the goblin tokens. We'll attack in. But we're not out of the woods just yet here. Obviously. We still gotta whittle away at our opponent. They got nothing, which is good. Let's just fetch this away. I really don't want to draw any more lands. If I had drawn a breeding pool, I would have gone nuts. Grafdigger's Cage is great. Let's see. Now I'm feeling better, but again, we're still 2 turns away from a win, so at least negate. Sure. They're going to draw a card off of that, fortunately. Let's see if they have it. So we swing in. They let it through, which is risky because now they're in bolt range, but it's game over. Cool. All right, so we got through Storm. There we go. So we learned our lesson in game 2. We definitely powered through game 1. We overwhelmed them, and it was just enough to win the game. And we took out that Pyrodeck Ritual as well, just in time. Games 2 and game 3, our opponent played a lot more intelligently, which is good and expected, and played a lot more carefully around our permission. And game 2 definitely benefited them, especially since we kind of mistakenly countered the wrong spells. And I knew better, and I still did it. I still made the mistake, but it's okay. Punted game 2. Game 3, kept a hand, snap keeped with Engineer Explosives, and everything else being relatively slow because Engineer Explosives will take them off the Empty the Warrens plan. They're going to put in everything into getting Empty the Warrens out, and then once you clear out all their goblins, it's going to be hard for them to recover from that. So it's exactly what we did, and we won the game. We won the match. So let me know in the comment section down below how you thought this match went. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content in general, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Share my content on Twitter and Facebook and social media. That really helps me out a lot. All that stuff I just mentioned takes you a couple of clicks, but for me and the channel, it really goes a long way, so I would definitely appreciate it. If you want to go a step further and support me on Patreon, check out the Patreon link in the description of this video. All the information is on Patreon, but basically I give you back some of your money at the end of every year in the form of magic cards, non-bulk rares and mythics. But check that out on Patreon. Thanks, and have a good one.